Hello and welcome to the week that was, TIOL's weekly news roundup. Today we introduce some quick news highlights of the week, followed by the news in detail. The government has announced the new rules for the equalization levy or Google tax on payments made by Indian businesses for availing the international digital services, which is now active from June 1. It shall cover specified services including online advertising, provision for digital advertising space, and any other service to be notified by the government.
The Commerce Ministry is lobbying for the tax holiday for startups to be raised from the current 3 years to 7 years.
In a bid to support public sector banks and their debt burden, the government is preparing to launch several investment and infrastructure funds to bring in the much needed equity capital. These funds will invite equity participation to strengthen capital and achieve balance sheet stability for public sector banks which have endured record losses.
To boost tax collections and clear backlog, the Delhi Chief Minister launched a mobile app for city traders to register with the VAT department of the Delhi government. Called the DVAT M-Seva, this app will allow online registration without the need for any visit by the VAT inspector. The app may help to clear the 41,000 pending requests.
Not to be left behind, even the South Delhi Municipal Corporation is preparing to register pet dogs online. After verifying proofs of residence, vaccination certificates and the pet's photograph along with the owner, the corporation will provide a unique registration number. The registration fee has also been revised from Rs 50 to Rs 500 per dog, including a dog tax of Rs 5. Even the terms and conditions for owning a dog in South Delhi are being clearly defined, with the owner being responsible for all actions by the pet.
Foreign portfolio investors in America have requested India to amend the India-US tax treaty to exempt them from capital gains tax because they cannot claim credit in US for taxes paid in India, leading to double taxation. They have assured India they would come to India and not route the investments in India through a third country like Mauritius or Singapore.
The Commerce Ministry is seeking an exemption from the mandatory 30% local sourcing norms for US company Apple, which is allowed to set up its own retail stores in India. The DIPP norms allow the waiver for companies which bring cutting-edge technology into India.
After Apple, the Environment Ministry has rejected another company, Foxconn's request for importing second-hand phones into India as it violates India's e-waste rules.
Now for some news on key appointments in government this week. Mr. Ashok Lavasa, a 1980 batch IAS officer of Haryana cadre, has become the new Finance Secretary. As Environment Secretary previously, Mr. Lavasa had helped simplify procedures and expedite clearances. He is due to retire in October 2017.
Mr. B.S. Bassi, Delhi's controversial police commissioner, has been appointed as member of the Union Public Service Commission, which conducts the civil services examination. This is a constitutional post with a 5-year tenure. Now for the news in detail. The government is cracking the whip for use of technology in departments.
The government has directed ministries to follow the 115 prescribed guidelines so that keyword matches throw up government websites in the top 5 results on any search engine. Recently, the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances found that 97% of the 957 government websites had failed the audit test on compliance with these guidelines. The guidelines mandate that websites must be bilingual and have citizen-oriented content, along with a response mechanism and include residential and mobile numbers of officials. There must be a website monitoring policy and a web hosting service provider giving help desk and round-the-clock technical support with backup and a disaster recovery center. Downloads must be virus-free and no links must lead to under-construction pages. These guidelines are part of the government's agenda to promote the Digital India program. A CBEC circular says there will be no interest prior to extension of warehousing period.
The CBEC has issued a circular clarifying that henceforth any interest payable by importers on extension of warehousing period shall be paid at the time of ex-bonding of the goods from the warehouse. This will help the department secure revenue and discourage protracted duty deferment arising due to warehousing. The circular prescribes the conditions for furnishing of security by importers as well as the amount of bank guarantee to be furnished before allowing warehousing period extensions. How important are credit histories and criminal records for the West Bengal's Trinamool Congress? Not very.
About 21% or 9 out of 42 ministers in the new West Bengal ministry have criminal cases against them, including charges of attempt to murder, kidnapping and communal disharmony. The Association for Democratic Reforms, a poll watch body, conducted a study based on an analysis of the self-sworn affidavits of these ministers, including the Chief Minister. The study reported that nearly 57% or 24 ministers had assets more than rupees 1 crore, with the average value of assets of the 42 ministers being rupees 3.36 crore. On the other hand, 15 ministers had declared liabilities, with the highest liability amounting to rupees 30 crore. These ministers belong to the Trinamool Congress, which was voted back to power for a second term in the recent assembly elections. India has become more competitive than last year.
India ranks 41st on the annual IMD World Competitiveness Scoreboard for 2016. India is up 3 spots from last year but still 6 spots below its 35th ranking in 2012. Hong Kong replaced US as the world's most competitive economy, followed by Switzerland, Singapore, Sweden, Netherlands, Norway and Canada, all featuring in the top 10. Ranking of Asian countries mostly declined due to fall in commodity prices, a strong dollar and the deterioration of balance sheets in both the private and public sectors. These rankings were based on 340 criteria covering economic performance, government efficiency, business efficiency and infrastructure. France will collect back taxes from multinationals, not cut a deal.
France is determined to apply the law and collect taxes from multinationals like Google, McDonald's and Starbucks. Unlike Britain, the country will not cut a deal against unpaid back taxes believed to have been funneled out of France to tax havens like Luxembourg and Switzerland. On suspicion of tax evasion, French investigators found that these multinationals, taking advantage of their presence around the world, were prone to shift profits to lower tax jurisdictions by billing the French division excessively for the use of company brand and other services. French tax authorities are seeking around 1.6 billion euros in back taxes from Google, while McDonald's may be billed 300 million euros for unpaid taxes on profits. Last year, the French government netted 3.3 billion euros in back taxes and penalties from just 5 multinationals. The Prime Minister will address revenue officers at the Rajaswa Gyan Sangam on June 16th.
The NDA government is organizing a mega 2-day event on taxation in New Delhi on June 16th. North Bloc is planning this event in place of the traditional annual Chief Commissioner's Mela, which used to be addressed by the Finance Minister. Called the Rajaswa Gyan Sangam, the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, is scheduled to address this joint conference of CBEC and CBDT officers. Depending on the agenda, the two-day conference may be extended to the first half of the third day too. The entire machinery of the revenue boards has swung into action to make it a big success. Officers with 1985 as the cutoff batch across the country have been directed to line up their ticket booking, lodging and transport arrangements. TIOL launches corplaws.com.
Adding one more feather to its cap, TIOL has launched yet another specialized portal focused on a large basket of corporate laws. It covers a host of laws such as competition law, IPR laws, capital market laws, Companies Act, FEMA and many others. It provides expert columns and a highly user-friendly search engine for case laws and updates. It covers day-to-day news developments in its Corp Buzz column. And not to miss, TIOL Tube also provides a column called The Sound Bites, where one may watch corporate laws-related legal wrangle and simply intoxicating episodes. We now conclude this bulletin of the week that was. Thank you for watching.
You may write to us at editor@tiol.in. Have a cheerful weekend ahead.